We've just hit 7 o'clock, so thank you everybody for joining us this evening and what's turning out to be a lovely evening. Although that's a backdrop, I have got that sort of sunshine shining on my back at the moment. So thank you for joining us, and thank you, Pete, for sorting out the ABPMs in the first place for us and agreeing to do this session this evening just to support people with the use of the meters. Pete's going to do a presentation. If you've got any questions, you can either put them into the chat and I will keep an eye on that, or we'll take your questions at the end of the session. And on that, I will leave it to you, Pete, to take over. Thank you.
Cheers, fantastic. Thanks for that introduction there, Anne. First of all, I have set the meeting to be recorded because hopefully for those who haven't been able to attend, if they do want to access the video, or you guys want to access the video again, it should be available afterwards. So this should be very, very brief intro. The device is a fairly straightforward device. It's a device I've used for since the service first launched, which would probably be about three years ago now, or just over. It's used by a significant number of pharmacies across the country, and it's probably one of the simplest on the market to use. So as it's going to be as hands-on as possible, I'm not going to give you a death by PowerPoint, and hopefully go through first of all unboxing the device, installing the software, setting it up, and taking the readings. So unboxing the device. Hopefully you've all received your devices already. I'm just going to go through what's in the box. So first of all, you will have the Hingmed device, and what you'll notice is the device is built into the cuff of the machine. Okay. Important to note that the cuff does have a size guide. Okay. And it's specified on here, just like all blood pressure cuffs, it specifies the size of the arm that it's suitable for. Really important that you don't try and fit this to an arm that is either too small or too large for the cuff, because the readings won't be accurate. The service specification does say that if you don't have a cuff suitable, then you must refer the patient to the practice. There are additional cuff sizes available. So EMT, which is the UK supplier of this machine, does do a range of cuffs or replacement cuffs if they are ever required. And whilst it doesn't look like it does detach from it, the machine can carefully be detached from the cuff and a replacement put on. Okay, so also in the box there is a silicone sleeve, which helps to cover the device and keep it clean. I recommend always having that fitted to the device when it's issued to a patient. What else you'll find in the box is a USB charging cable. Now, it's important that you use the cable that is provided with the device, or one that is equivalent. And the reason for that is it's a data cable as well as a charging cable. So there are some cheap USB cables on the market which can be used for charging phones, which would charge your device. But when it comes to the important bit of getting the data off the machine, you need to make sure it's a data enabled cable. So best advice is always use the one that's in the box, and if you do need a replacement, make sure it's of an equivalent standard. You should also receive in the box either a USB pen device or a CD, which includes the installation software for the machine. The software can also be downloaded from the Hingmed website. Current version as of today is version 3.2.7, which can be downloaded. So that covers what's in the box, as well as the little carry case as well. So I'll put all that to one side for now, and I'm just going to start to share my screen, because the first thing you'll want to do is get the software set up onto your PC for being able to interact with the device. Now, important that you get permission from your IT department or whoever's responsible for the systems within your pharmacy before installing any software. However, there is reassurance that this device has been used by a number of pharmacies and large organisations that have already assured themselves that they're happy with the device, but it is a responsibility to make your own assessment of the device and the suitability of the software to use. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay, so hopefully you've seen my desktop there, and that's where we're going to go through the various bits. So first of all, installing the software. So if you've got either a CD or USB, you'll have a folder, and in there will be a setup file. If you double click the setup file, that will install the software onto your computer at the recommended installation sites. Once that's installed, you will get a new icon on your desktop and available in your start bar called Hingmed ABPM English. Okay, so this is what we're going to use for accessing the device. Now, at this point, I would also recommend that you set up a folder for your ABPM results to be stored in. Now, this is the exported copy that we're going to send to the GP. So many pharmacies will set up a folder on their desktop, but again, check with colleagues in your organisation if that's where they want these results to be stored. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward how to set up the software. So now let's think about how we're going to connect to the software and use it. So the first thing you then want to do is open the software. And it looks like this. I'll just enlarge that for you on the screen. Okay, so what I would advise at this stage is to just pop into the settings and configure the software for your pharmacy. So if you go to this section that says hospital, you're able to fill in your pharmacy name, telephone details, and your address. That means that any report that you generate will have your pharmacy's details on there. So you can click Update, F3, and then Escape, which saves them. So we've got three aspects of this software: programming it, reading it, and viewing our data. So the first thing we'd want to do is, once we've identified a patient that needs an ABPM check, is program it and fit it to the patient. So once we've got the software open, we would take the device, plug in the USB. The USB port is just in the end, and then plug it into an available port on your PC. What you'll often hear when you plug in a USB device is that it will make a little beep or ding dong, which says that it's been recognised by the computer. So at that point, you know it's good to go, and the computer has recognised it. So what we're going to do is click on Program. First thing it asks you is, do you want to empty the device's data? Which is fine. Say yes, because we've got a new patient that we want to fit this to. So you get this screen, which may look a little bit daunting, but it's really, really simple, the information that we need to fill in here. So we need to fill in this section here for a name. So let's go for myself, gender male, and that is everything that actually needs to be filled in on the patient. The software automatically generates a unique patient number, and we then move on to the section of setting the measurement times. So as you'll be aware, the ABPM will be, we set it to what can be both daytime and nighttime readings. So the schedule at the top tells you what we're going to set it to. Now, generally, you can just keep the defaults in here. You might only need to change it if you're dealing with somebody who's a shift worker or who has a particular sleep pattern that doesn't fit the normal. So this is set to have a waking hours of 7:30 till 9 with a 30-minute reading. So that means it's going to take 2 readings per hour. And the evening sleep period is from 9 till 7:30, and that's just going to take 1 reading per hour. So you just make sure that you're happy with that, and you can inform the patient as to when the readings are going to be taken. The next options are around the keypad, around enabled it and the display being enabled. You can change these if you want, but it really doesn't matter. I would advise just leaving them as they are. So your next step to do is to hit the OK button. And when you hit the OK button, you will hear the machine beep and you will get the message program success. So that's our device programmed for that patient and ready to go. Okay, so we say OK. So that's the point we now fit the device to the patient. So just going to stop sharing my screen there and bring that back on. So looking at the machine, you will see that as with all BP machines, they have an indicator, which is where we need to align with the brachial artery. So this machine can be fitted to either the left or the right arm, depending on the patient's preference, or if there's any particular clinical reason why they may not want their blood pressure checked on a particular arm. What we'd also say is fit the actual machine on the outside of the arm. That will be more comfortable for the patient. So if I'm going to fit this to my left arm, just goes on like that with the indicator there against the brachial artery and the device on the outside. The device does have a little clip, so if the patient finds that it's slipping down, you can put this clip on and attach it to their shirt. Okay. Now, it's great having it fitted, but we want to make sure that the machine is working. Spoken to some pharmacies in the past where they fitted the machine, the patients come back the next day and said, I didn't notice it doing anything. Well, that's because they didn't switch it on. So, critical step is once it's fitted to the arm, press and hold the middle button to switch the machine on. You'll hear it beep. It tells you the time, and press it again, and it takes the first reading. So I always advise having that first reading taken within the pharmacy so that you know that the machine's working and the patient has got an idea of what it's going to feel like. I don't know whether you can hear there via the microphone that it's inflated. It's steadily deflating now. The machine will take the reading and automatically store that into the database. If for whatever reason it's unable to take a blood pressure reading, it will attempt it on 3 goes and then give up and then continue to follow the schedule. So we've just forced it to take its first reading. It will then take its next reading on the half hour thereafter. All right, so I'll just put that on my arm now. Important to advise the patient not to get the machine wet. They're not waterproof. Okay, so if they do need to shower or bathe, make sure that they're comfortable taking it off and putting it back on accurately if they do need to. Okay, so with regard thinking about when we fit this device, so they did change the guidelines around ABPM to hopefully make it more accessible to patients. So when the service first launched, you had to have 24 hours worth of readings, but that was kind of relaxed to make it more accessible. So the current requirements for having an ABPM effective data essentially is having 14 readings. So taking at 30-minute intervals, that means you can get sufficient data in a 7-hour period. So probably the latest time in the day you could fit an ABPM would be 2 p.m. The patient could wear that for 7 hours, and if they wanted, they could take it off and return it to the pharmacy the next day. If the patient wants to leave it on for longer, so throughout the night and into the next morning, that's absolutely fine. But some people are being able to kind of get patients happier with having it if they're not having to be disturbed through the night. Okay, so now let's go through the process of reading the data when the patient comes back into the pharmacy. So I'm just going to switch back to my screen share again. Okay. So process is straightforward. Just turn on the software, plug in the machine via the USB port. You'll hear the machine beep, and we then click the read button. So I've obviously just taken one reading. So we open up the software, we click on read, and it tells you here that it's got some data. Okay. Because we've only taken the single reading on this, it hasn't got anything to show because it hasn't got any averages or any graphs to be able to show. But that is essentially how we download the data to the machine. Okay, simple as that. So I'll just escape from that, and what I'll do is I'll bring you up a test patient to be able to show you this. So this is what a typical report looks like once we've downloaded the patient's details. Now, you can browse through the information that's presented here, but you actually don't need to. You can click all of the buttons across the top and see the various bits of information. Okay. So we can see on this particular test patient, there were 40 readings taken, all of the different times of the day, and the readings are there. And the key information we need to actually look at is on the averages. And like I said before, we only need daytime awake hours for the ABPM reading. So in this scenario here, we'd be looking at a mean systolic of 145 and a mean diastolic of 85 and a heart rate of 88. That's the information that is needed, but we would send the full report to the GP. So I'll just talk you through the process of how we export this information. It's dead simple. We click the PDF file button at the top of the screen. Okay, we can leave all of these ticked and say print. So this generates a PDF into this folder here. So we set up the folder ABPM results. Okay, and we can put in the patient's name. So let's say Horrocks. Okay, and let's say today's date. Okay, so that's saved in our folder there. So from this point, we can actually quit the software. So I shall minimize that. And if we look in our ABPM results folder, okay, we've now got the PDF file. So this is ready to send to the GP. We can open it. Have a look at the information that's been presented from the machine. So it's an eight page report in this instance. And again, going just to highlight the important part of the information, we're looking at this section here, which is the awake time. So the mean systolic, mean diastolic, and the heart rate there. They're the information that you need to put into farm outcomes. So we can send the patient away with a printout of this if you wish so, and inform them of what the results are. As you'll be aware, the referral guidelines are if a patient has a ABPM average reading of greater than 134/84, then that would be a stage 1 referral within 3 weeks to the GP. And if the ABPM mean reading was over 115/95, that would be a same-day referral to the GP. So I just wanted to finally show you on farmer outcomes, in case you're not familiar with the ABPM section on that. So when you're doing the ABPM follow-up, consultation, we would tick the box to say the patient has attended, ABPM undertaken, the date of the test, section here to upload the transcript of the ABPM. So we tick yes, and then we get this little button here that says add, and that's where you can click that and attach the file from the folder that we've set up, then filling in the ABPM reading. So you'll see in this example I've put on screen, the patient was above 134/84, just, which would indicate a stage 1 hypertension and referral to the GP within 3 weeks. So once we save that report on farm outcomes, that would then trigger a notification to the GP, and they would get a copy of the ABPM transcript. So I'll just close that down. What I would also advise is that you leave the device plugged into the computer, because that's how it charges the device through the USB port. That means it's always ready and good to go for the next patient that may come in. So whistle stop tour there. I think you've hopefully seen how straightforward and simple the device is to use. Happy to take any questions if there's any questions, and equally if you then get back to the pharmacy and are unpacking it or have any queries, then yeah, happy to take some questions then if you do need.